Hello there, and welcome to the Pulse with Rodney. I'll be your host today, Rodney Campbell. And I'd like you to welcome you to the show. Today, we're very honored to have a Detroit icon, Mark Andrews from the band Seduce, and he's agreed to do an interview with us and talk about past and present topics and what's going on in Mark's world. So I'm going to introduce you to him right now. Mark, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
How are you, buddy? Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, as usual.
Oh, always, brother, always. So I just was wanting to say thank you for coming on with us and helping me get started with my new venture, the podcast. And we're going to go back and forth and talk about some things that you've done and where you've played and things of that nature, and ask you some questions and answers if you're okay with that.
I'm all ears, man. Let's do it.
All righty, buddy. First of all, I'd like to say, at what age were you when you decided you wanted to take the leap into rock and roll, and who was your biggest influence back in the day?
Gosh, I've been playing since I was around 11 or 12. Got involved with playing music because a friend of mine had a guitar, and he says, "Man, you should play the bass." And I never even thought about playing or like that. So I said, "Okay, cool." So I started playing, and we put little bands together, and it got better and better. As we learned how to play, and listening to records and finding different records we liked and learning by ear. I never took lessons or anything like that, but by
no
time
lessons. No lessons.
Never took lessons. No.
Wow.
I learned everything by ear, which helped me out, all my life, because now that I know I can listen to something and just play it, by, from what I'm hearing. But, man, I've been playing in bars since I was 15, and I used to come home at 3 a.m. from playing in a bar, lift my amplifiers up 8 stairs in Detroit and get up and go do my free press paper route and then go to high school, and so I've been playing forever. It seems like, as far as influences, like to answer your question, I mean, back in the day, I'm a lot older than a lot of cats, but really enjoyed Alice Cooper, Cream, Jack Bruce, bass players. Dennis Dunaway is my all-time favorite bass player. I learned a lot from him. And as you learn parts and songs, then you get better and you start creating a style and see what you like and learn from there, and then it becomes like your own.
You would take a little bit from each one of them and put it
yeah, whatever album was cool, like Montrose or Aerosmith albums, whatever came out, I'd learn every song, on records. You learn how to mess up, put the record back, mess up, until you learn it, and get it right, and then getting in bands, and then you got your favorite songs that you're playing, and we play hall parties and different things like that, and you just get it. The longest thing is trying to find the right people to play with. And so I've been in many bands where it's like you work 8, 9 months putting a song list together, and all of a sudden the guitar player's girlfriend don't want him to be in the band no more. And it's like, okay, you're losing the guitar player. And it's like starting over. And it's like, so much things that you go through.
Yeah. What was the reason that you decided to just do originals when you became Seduce? I know you were a 3-piece most of the time, and then you added a singer at one time, which we all know and missed very well. Go ahead.
There was like a kind of a plan that we had. We knew that we were going to be 3-piece, with David being the only guitar player, be on bass and a drummer, but we were going to have a singer. And we started out with a 4-piece with a singer, and we had a few singers, but I always sang a few songs to help the singers out within our sets. And eventually it just got to the point where, well, Mark, why don't you just do the singing? And I never wanted to be the singer. So, but we went 3-piece, and then we started playing, getting our name known around town. And once you start bringing people into the clubs, then you can kind of write your own ticket and do what you want to do. So we would play, we played 4 sets a night. And then I said, hell with that. Let's just do 2 sets and hire a band. So we were like the first ones to have opening acts in clubs. And the bar owners would be like, well, who the hell is this? And I said, well, don't worry about it. We're paying them and you're getting twice the entertainment. Well, okay. And we'd pack the places. And so they didn't complain about it. And then I said, after a while, like, you know, you're not going to get nowhere playing covers. So we started doing originals and working them in. Then next thing you know, we were doing one set covers, and then the next set was originals. And then it got to the point where the people were still coming, you know, so
Kept doing the originals.
do originals.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's kind of like what's wrong with Detroit's music right now. And I don't like say that lightly, because there's no bands out there. I know of maybe 2 bands that play a bar night and it's all originals, and they're younger guys and they're hungry, but nobody's going out to see anybody that plays just original music anymore. It's either 3 sets of cover tunes, or it's tribute bands. And it seems like the only bands that are actually getting paid in today's market are tribute bands, and the rest of them, they got to sell tickets and yada yada yada. And what are your thoughts on that compared to like back in the day when a good, like, I'm not going to mention any names, but there was like 8 or 10 good bands that everybody still remembers, and they all got paid rather well for the time. Maybe not so much now, but they all were all original bands, and everybody flocked to the Studio Lounge, to the Token, to the East Side to see you guys, the Ritz and Papillons and so on and so on. But now it's like nobody knows these guys and don't give a rat's rear end if they go and see them or not. What do you think needs to change?
I don't know if anything will ever change the way things are. Nothing will be like it used to be. You got to think about like when we had all the clubs that played in Detroit when we were getting started, and before we even started, there was you know, East Side. You had the Ritz, Trax, Harpo's, you know, the Red Carpet, 3 of Us, My Place. And that's within a 5-mile radius. Then the West Side, you had the Token, you know, the Studio, and, you know, Center Stage, different places like that. And you got to remember, that was before the internet.
You know? Yeah, that's true. That's
and so it's like when everybody went out and you're at that age, where'd you go? You went to the bar, because that's where you're going to have fun. You're going to drink, party, meet girls, see cool bands. And it got to be like, for us, like everybody had their own crowd that would come, or fans that would come see you. It was like, it would be the same people every week wherever we played. And it was like going back to school or something like that, all the same people. And that's the lifestyle and, you know, the scene that we had back in them days. So hence, if you're bringing people in, if you're a bar owner, you're there to make money.
Right.
So if, you know, if the people are coming and everybody's partying, drinking, having a good time, I'm going to pay the band what they deserve, you know, and that's the way it was. And it even got to be like a bidding war, like for us and probably other bands out there, the bigger bands that were, you know, if we're going to play the East Side, we're playing the Ritz, or if we're going to play the East Side, we're playing Harpo's, because they whoever wanted to pay us the most. Sure. And then it got to the point like where, you know, back in the day, you'd play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or maybe even Wednesday through Saturday. And I said, hell with playing 4 nights a week, because if you got a chance to see Seduce or, you know, Muggsy or whoever it is, and they're playing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, what are you going to do? You're going to pick which day you want to go out. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to go see him Saturday night, right? So then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday might be, you know, say 500 people. Saturday might be 1,000. So I said, hell with it. Let's charge as much as we're going to make for the 3 nights and play 1 night. Everybody's going to be there.
Shit, yeah, that's great.
I
totally get it.
But you know, back in them days, it was nothing to, you know, play Friday and a Saturday night at Harpo's, and there'd be 1,500 people each night. Wow. You know. And it's like
some of the best times on the planet, man. Following you guys around, everybody packing into a car from the West Side, running out to the East Side. Didn't know anybody, but we were on our way out there to see.
Well, what you're going to expect, and it's going to be a good time, and it's going to be off the hook, and you know we're going to be punching you in the face.
Yeah, man. I look at some of the videos that people had on their phones and stuff from back in the day. especially at Harpo's. Harpo's was a fun place to go see you guys because you were larger than life up on that big giant stage, man. Everybody's headbanging against the stage and stuff, and uh, uh, diving into the audience and stuff. And you just don't see that anymore. It's just like things gotten so relaxed in the music. I don't know about in Nashville, and we'll get to that in a second, but Detroit, it's like most bars aren't even open for music anymore during the week. Some of these little corner bars, they do karaoke. They got 20 or 30 people in there max the whole night. And everybody's just watching the sports game on the TV, on the monitors. Nobody's actually going out anymore except unless it's like a old national band that's not as popular as they used to be, and the bar gets them to come and play, and then they still only get about 400 or 500 people these days. What's going on with that?
Well, once again, it's just like, I mean, I came into town a couple of years ago, and I was playing it. We were playing the Token Lounge on a Saturday night, and it was Friday night, and my wife and I, Kim, we were out driving around looking for a place to go hang out or whatever, and then nothing was even open. I mean, unless you're going to a casino or a strip club, but like regarding the music scene, I mean, I get it. When getting back to your tribute band thing, I mean,
they're out there to make money.
Once again, if you're a bar owner, are you going to pull in this local band that doesn't have a following? Yeah, I appreciate that you're trying to do originals or trying to do whatever you think like that, but it's all about, having a following and building up your, following to make money for everybody to be happy. Then you're going to make money. And then it's like you see guys that come in and they expect everything to be given to them, but you got to promote and do whatever you got to do. And that's like why at first, when we first started playing, I had no problem working for the door, because that means you're going to make, say $5 per person. But when it gets to be, okay, well, there's 800 people here. It's like the bar owner starts thinking like, well, hey, I'm losing out on a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we'll take the door, buddy.
Sure.
But things are different now because I mean, you can say, for instance, any band's playing at the Token Lounge on a Friday night. There's going to be somebody there with their phone recording it. Like that, and by 2 a.m. after that show, it's going to be on YouTube. Yep. So everybody can sit at home with their 6-pack of beer and watch YouTube and see the show that they, instead of going out, especially with the DUIs and drinking and partying and going out and the cops and everything like that. And I kind of get it, but your tribute bands, I mean, living in California, that was a big thing out there too. The places they play was the casinos and stuff like that, and they made big bucks. But these guys really, I mean, I seen some great tribute bands. It's like one band, Bonfire. It was it was Bon Scott, AC/DC, and it was them.
No,
Bon Scott, he looked just like Bon Scott. He had every mannerism down. He sang just like him, had the bagpipes, everything like that, and they were fantastic.
Wow.
But there's another band like Queen Nation. The guys sound just like Freddie Mercury, look just like the older, the short hair Freddie Mercury. Mm-hmm. But them guys walked around like they were really Queen. I said, come on, dude, you're in a cover band, but they make the money. I mean, guys I played with here in Detroit, out there in California, and Terry, he's in the Stones band. And he was on the TV show, like the best tribute bands. He plays Ron Wood in the Stones band. And they make money because people know what to expect. They want to relive their youth, going to see the Rolling Stones or AC/DC or, whoever it can be. I mean, there's that fantastic band that's out there, the Van Halen tribute band.
Oh, man, they're incredible. Yeah, they're incredible.
There's guys up in Detroit that are doing the Motley Crue thing and the Ozzy thing, and they're all friends of mine, stuff like that. But that's what they decided to do. But do
you think there's any longevity to that with those kind of bands, or do you think it's going to fizzle out? Or with the internet, and I'm not real knowledgeable about the money. I'm looking for the right word. They can go on YouTube and watch it. So I mean, back in your day, and everybody would go out and buy a CD or an album. Now they can get it out. All they gotta do is pull up Pandora and listen to it for free. Is there any way that bands on coming
They,
up can make any money, or is it just a lost thing?
the way the music business is now, I mean, with the click of the button, you know, of your mouse, you can be around the world if you have product to sell or you market yourself musically. But the streaming, it's like, what do you get? A million streams and you get like $100 or something. I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but most bands nowadays, the most of the money that they make is from live shows and merchandise. So hence touring, you know, and doing shows like that. And it's like, you look at, like, you pull up any of those tribute bands, look at their tour. They're in Europe, they're across the country, and they're playing every other night, probably making decent money. Hence, there's their, yeah, I'm getting to play, even though I'm acting like I'm, you know, Joe Blow or whoever, you know, on guitar, you know, Eddie Van Halen or something like that. And they're doing a good job doing it, you know, and it's not like you having to come up with anything original. You're just mocking somebody. But
Yeah,
if you're getting, you know, living the lifestyle, touring, making the money and having that thing, good for them, you know?
that's in today's world, I guess it's all depends on how much you want to put into it is what you're going to get out of it. Just like anything else.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to be in the music business, especially in a dying. I'm not going to say a dying town, but when music is not like the same as it before, like the different styles of music compared to like Seduce and like you say, Muggsy or some of these hardworking 80s and 90s rock bands that put blood, sweat, and tears just to play it, like you said, the center stage, and they got huge followings. Now these guys, they go in and they draw 30 people. The bar just physically can't pay them the money that they want, and quite frankly, there's not enough people to even, if you're going to go into a bar and you see 20 people there and it's radio music and the band's setting up at 9 o'clock and there's 20 people in there, are you going to want to stay, or are you going to want to leave and go find a place where it's happening, where girls are running around and people are having a good time instead
So
of
that's the main thing, you know. Basically, I wouldn't want to own that club, you know, with, you're dying. You pay your employees, you got to buy drinks, you got to do everything else, you know.
Mhm.
And it's just like, it's a different scene now, and it's like all of us, like you're saying, the pre-mentioned bands, whoever it might be, we all come from that school of, we learned our instruments, we busted ass, we got to where we were, people appreciate it, and it's like the best times of your life, even though you took it for granted back then, but nowadays, music is different. I mean, you watch the Grammys or awards and stuff like that, there's not even guitars on it, and it's anybody with a computer can write music now.
Yep.
And it's just like, you don't have to learn your craft or your art, and it's like nowadays, even I'm a dinosaur. I still have all my amplifiers and walls of stuff that I'll probably never ever use again, but I refuse to get rid of it, because I'm not going to give it away. But everybody now has all their equipment in a little suitcase when they use in-ear monitors, and they can travel like that. And just everything is just so different now, and it's just like, I refuse. I mean, I did it back in the day when we busted our ass and you did live shows before the internet, and it's like people seeing you and you did a radio interview. And so they went out and bought your record, and then you seen how, and we tour with a lot of people, and those were good times. And it's like, seeing the country and everything else. But, nowadays, at least we made enough money to get to the next town, in Detroit, where we were from, we make good money, and we make good money now when we do a show. But, it's a tough world, tough life, man, and it's like, even like I've been offered tours down here, to play, but you have your artists that go in the studio, and then you got your maybe 24 cats that are studio musicians that play on everybody's albums. And then whoever it might be has to do a tour, and then they hire young kids to learn the parts and play, because the young kids are just, I'm going on tour.
Yeah, man, right.
And then living in the tour bus, and it's fun. I could play for $500 a week. But when you got, family and mortgages and bills to pay, you're not going to do that, I mean, So play 5 nights a week and live on a tour bus with 15 people and not take showers and play for $400 a week.
Yeah, man. But it was an experience you would never not want to do. I mean, sure, at our age
When you're
now,
20, when you're
yeah,
22
that's what I'm
years
saying.
old,
Yeah, but
it's great.
yeah, it's like we're going across the country. We're going to the what's that bar in L.A. that everybody wanted to play? The Sunset Strip. Is that what it was?
Well, Sunset Strip, you got all, Roxy,
Yeah,
Rainbow, all these
right.
different places, Troubadour. There's your clubs that are everywhere across the country.
You
But
lived out there for a while, didn't you?
yeah, I lived out there for a few times, yeah.
And did you?
But even after, say, the '80s, Sunset Strip died.
No kidding.
Yeah, there was House of Blues, and then that's even gone now. But Gazzari's and all those places that were like back in the day, like when Motley Crue and Poison and all them people
Right.
were, when the '80s were happening, and people were up and down, and the girls were crazy, and it was just
Yeah.
wild, good times. I mean,
Sure.
that's dead now.
Yeah.
But grunge kind of moved all that out.
Yeah. With
Now Broadway in Nashville is kind of like Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Strip used to be back in the day.
that's what I was just going to get to. What's the difference in the venues where you live now? If everybody doesn't know that's listening, Mark now lives in Nashville, and he's real close to the happening area. And let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, Nashville is a great town. I mean, there's Broadway, which is like your center hub if you want to look at Nashville being like a wheel, and that's where the tourists come. And there's like 5 blocks of every building is a building which is a bar name or somebody's bar, and it's 4 or 5 stories high, and there's bands on every floor playing live music from 10 a.m. till 3 in the morning all day long.
Wow.
You play 4 sets, 4-hour sets, and bands, they say they work on tips, but if you're a better known artist or something like that, I believe you do get paid. It's crazy down there, and it's just like you walk up and down Broadway, and all the buildings, the windows are open, so you're getting blasted by all this bands. So whatever draws you in, it's free to get in every place. The drinks are a little expensive, but that's how they make their money. But it's 7 days a week. It's crazy. Now that's just Broadway. Now you'll see, it'll be 11 o'clock in the morning, and guys are holding their girlfriends on their shoulders because they're drunk already, and it's just like it's crazy. There's tractors, John Deere tractors pulling trailers with drunk girls hanging off of it. Nashville is the bachelorette capital of the world.
How fast do you get burned out from all that stuff, or is there a different side of the town where you can like take?
Well, this is what I'm getting to. That's like where all the yahoos and the tourists come, and everybody's got cowboy boots on and cowboy hats, and you can tell, by 10 o'clock at night, you can see the girls on the side of the street pulling their boots off with blisters on their feet because they thought they looked cool, but their feet are just torn up from wearing boots all day and just drunk. And it's just like it's gotten so crazy down there where it's like being at the Token Lounge when Seduce is playing, all up and down the street. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's like elbow to elbow, and it's just like, there's.
I don't think the Token Lounge has ever had a bigger crowd. I know when me and my brother, if people don't know, me and my older brother Freddie, we own that bar. I was kind of like the silent partner, but I don't think there was ever a bigger crowd that ever went there to see I don't care if it was a national band or not. You could not breathe when Seduce was there. And I got to say this, you have some of the most loyal fans on the planet. They just love you guys, and myself included. I mean, people travel from out of state to come and see Seduce, and you have a very, very loyal fan base. All of them just love you guys to death, and you've never been disrespectful. You've always taken the time to be nice to your fans, and even on Facebook, people, I'm sure you get blown up all the time and stuff, and I see your stuff because we're friends, and you go that extra little bit to be nice to people because it's important. They're the people that put you where you're at. You're a very talented musician, but anybody that has any kind of self-worth, play it forward and just genuinely be nice to their fan base, which I've always seen in you. You take time when you're coming out of the to go on stage. You're coming outside to, and you're talking to people before you go on stage and stuff, and that means a lot to your fan base. And I think it's a wonderful thing, Mark. But we're gonna go ahead and play us one of your videos, and then we'll come back and chat. We're gonna for those of you, we're gonna do Crash Landing, and then me and Mark will come back and talk. Okay.
Yeah, I still got to tell you more about Nashville.
Okay, brother, here we go.
Right.
Why do people devote their whole life to rock and roll?
Well, if you want to become famous, it usually takes your whole life to get there,
Who's the biggest band in Detroit?
Us.
All right, we're back with Detroit's rocker, Mark Andrews. That was incredible, dude. I get chills up and down my spine listening to that, man. I just think that was one of the best. Tell me where you did some of that video shooting at.
Those are all excerpts from the movie shoot that we did. And we instantly, after we did that movie, and it's hard to believe, that was 36 years ago.
Wow, where the time flied by, man. Wow.
Yeah. And as soon as we got done there, it was filmed in Hollywood, and I can't remember exactly the name of the club. I think it was like you're inside of a cave, and all the the stalactites and everything were hanging all over the ceilings and stuff like that. But basically, since we instantly went on tour with Iggy Pop after that, Penelope Spears, who did the movie, took editing from the clips that she filmed for the movie
Okay.
and put that video together for us because IRS wanted to have something to put on Headbangers Ball.
Dude, that was incredible.
So she just edited all that together, and we didn't really have a say so on anything, but yeah, it's cool,
Oh, I dig it, man. Everybody loves that song. Tell me about the preparation before a show, the hair and the mindset that when you guys come into the parking lot at one of your venues and you start rolling in your equipment. What's going through your head when you first start? You're gonna put on a banging show. You're there for all business, or are you just there to have fun and mix it up a little bit? Or what's your mindset?
Well, it's not like we have a mindset per se. I mean, it depends. And if you look at it nowadays compared to how when we did it all the time, or if we're on tour, naturally, if we're on tour, we're ready to bust you in the teeth, and prove ourselves because we're playing in front of people who never seen us before. And so, even though it might suck on stage because you never get sound checks and different things like that, you still make the best of it. So naturally, it's like, you come in the town and you get your gear set up and you sit around. It's like, hurry up and wait, you sound the main band or whatever does their sound check. And then, you go on when you do. And then usually you get some food and you play, and then all of a sudden you're done and you go to the next town. In a local show, I mean, we usually, like say for instance, now I'll come up, a couple of days ahead of time. We'll do a couple of rehearsals, and ironically, it's like even though we might not play together 5-6 years, we'll get together in rehearsal. It's like riding a bike, man. It just clicks because that's how we are, and we tighten things up, and then day of the show, do sound check, go home, take a shower, walk in there, try to hide from everybody.
I know, right? It's like
talk to people that you can, and and then just try to get in the right frame of mind. And up there, and next thing you know, it's like the intro's coming on. It's like an hour and a half. You're sweaty, and it's just like, oh well, love you guys. See you next time.
Yeah, man. I really love when the curtain goes up. Your last couple of times, hey, what's up, you crazy MFers? And then you just go right into banging on that bass, man. And
well, that might be the vodka talking a little bit.
Yeah, but man, everybody is just like amped, like to the nil. Even at our age now, it's just incredible the energy that comes to your fan base when Seduce comes into town. It just boggles my mind how loyal and faithful these people that have backed you guys for 30 years and more.
Well, you figure we're the soundtrack of their youth.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't get over the camaraderie of your fan base when Seduce comes to Detroit, and just brings back such memories. And even people that are 60, 70 years old go out of their way to come and support you guys, dressing up in spandex and the Aquanet and the chain belts and the half up to your knee boots and stuff. And it's just a wonderful experience to get out and see Seduce, even at our age. So my next question is, and then we're going to get back to Nashville, because I really want people to understand where you're at in your life right now. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
Probably is there a show in the future?
Yes, that was it. What are you read me like a book, my old friend.
Right.
What is the thoughts on that, and what would it take to make that happen?
It's just a matter of everybody being in the right frame of mind. I mean, usually we do. Oh, there's my wife running
Hi,
by.
Kim. Nice to see you, sweetie. You're going to be on national TV here pretty soon.
We talk and we get into little spurts of like where we text back and forth, David, Chuck, and I. And there's been a few times we were going to play shows up in Detroit, and then just things beyond our control happened. And we usually do shows around, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. And John would like us to play, meaning the Token, because that's what we've been playing a lot. it's just a matter of putting it all together. Our fans like to play on our Seduce, fan page. They're always asking if we're going to do another show. I got people asking if we're going to play a show in Texas, or if we're going to play a show in New York. I mean, we don't tour no more. We don't do anything like that, but I'm sure there's going to be some show coming up.
There was a story, somebody, I don't know who it was. I think it's a mutual friend of ours, Randy Warner. He was down in Texas, and it was somebody went into a pawn shop and got a CD, Seduce, Too Much Ain't Enough record. It was on the shelf in Texas. This is back probably 20 years ago. It was big news, man. I remember that well. I think it was our friend Randy, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, these guys have been all over. And I remember the record release party at the Token Lounge. They had a nice spread of food. And once again, Mark being who he is, he was very cordial and nice to everybody that came out. I think David brought his parents. If I could be wrong, I can't, but there was somebody in the band's parents that were there. It was just wonderful, man. And, some of those record release parties that a lot of these bands do, not no more. I don't even ever hear of them anyhow anymore. But like when you guys did your record release party, you guys actually started going and doing stuff. A lot of people go into a studio and make a record or a half a record and blow up a big venue saying that they're, come see us at our record release party. We're on our way. And nothing really ever happens of it. Everybody goes and wishes them well and stuff. And then 3 months later, they're still playing in Detroit, and you guys truly made it. And you took a lot of people with you. You had a lot of bands that would warm you guys up that really got their start because you gave them the opportunity to get up on stage and warm you guys up. And I'm sure there's a lot of grateful bands out there for that.
Yeah, I still have great friends from people who we took under our wing, and and became good friends of ours. That because they opened up for us. And then there's a ton of people out there. It's like, man, I used to open up for you back in the day, and it's like, I don't remember you at all, dude.
Yeah,
we would do sound check, go home, and come back, and we'd walk in at 11 o'clock at night. And get upstairs, tune up, and then hit the stage, where there's been 3-4 bands playing already before we even got there, So I'm sorry, but, I kind of remember the name of the band, not that, but I didn't watch everybody who opened for us. But, I still talk to like those guys from Snare, Ernie in LA and
right on,
and, Jimmy.
John's been a pretty big supporter of the band Seduce. He's one of the few bars after he acquired it from us that continued the heritage of local rock and roll, and he's prospered from it. I love John like a brother. He's always been fair to most bands, and he's genuinely a nice guy. And I know everybody just loves to go there and see you guys, and I really hope that you guys put something together this year. But let's go back a little bit to how things are for you in Nashville, and what's the difference? I know we touched base on it a few minutes ago, but what's the difference in the like the nightlife? There's no nightlife left in Detroit very much. And I know it's like you said, it's banging there in downtown Nashville all the time. What do you partake in when you go out? What's your like Saturday night consist of?
Well, when we first moved here, we were going out quite a bit, and it was a little bit easier to go downtown. And, I did a lot of networking and met a lot of people and, different musicians, and got into the different scenes and stuff like that. But like I was telling you earlier, there's something to do here 7 days a week. Every day, if you want to do, whether it's some festival going on, or there's some Elvis festival, or a rockabilly show, or country hall of fame, or a musicians hall of fame, or craft stores, or different things, festivals going on, tomato festivals, hot chicken festivals, whatever, and it's just like I can keep going on and on. But Nashville is, like I said, like I was telling you earlier, like a wheel hub, and then like Broadway downtown, like where all the bars are staying, like 5 floors of music, 10 to 3 in the morning. But
Right.
there's little spokes that go off that aren't too far from each other, with another neighborhood that's like, I guess if you're kind of thinking about Detroit, like Farmington or like say Ferndale or Birmingham or whatever, like Corktown, place like that have its own identity. And there's different things to do. You can go there, and okay, there might be, you know, the beautiful people with the coffee bistros and people sitting outside and having a nice dinner with the flames going, and there's different areas like that to go to. And then there's like places like in Midtown where it's not all the drunks from Oklahoma or New York that are downtown, that it's like the locals hang out with. You know, this is a big college town where there's college areas, like where the college kids hang, and that's another whole scene. And then there's like the songwriter areas, like, you know, Music Row, where that's where all the music was created back in the day, where RCA Studios are, BMI, you know, and different places like that, where there's like workshops, like little like craftsman houses, and you wouldn't even realize it, but that's like, you know, a record company, or, you know, the Taylor Swift's record company, and they have, you know, artists, you know, songwriters that come in there every day, and they just write songs. And then at the end of the day, they go down to hang out at this certain club, and then there's like people sitting in songwriter night, and there's different things that do that, you know, in another neighborhood. Then you got like 12 South, and then the Nations, and then, you know, there's different things for your dogs, and there's different areas. There's so many things to do here, and so many cool museums and different things, nightlife. So you can pick and choose what you want to do every night of the week, you know. And I live a little bit for like 18 miles away from downtown. We live on the lake, so we can go out on the boat, or we can go have a campfire by the lake, or, you know, just do whatever, you know, watch the sunset, you know. It's beautiful. You know?
I see that floor base behind you. Let's talk a little bit about that. I've seen you've sent me some photographs, and as we are friends, I see that now. When you get up, you do go downtown occasionally and sit in with some of these local bands and some national bands as well. Tell us a little bit about that, and how you got involved in that.
Well, back in the day when I lived in Detroit, I had a friend that gives me a call. He says, "Mark, I got this bass for you." And I'm like, well, I don't really need a bass, but okay, bring it by. And he comes up and he shows up with this upright bass. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with that? I'd never played an upright bass. And he ended up, I says, well, I don't want it, but if you need some money, I'll give you a couple $100 for it as like a pawn. You can come back and give me the money. And he ended up committing suicide. And I ended up having this bass forever. Wow. And I put it in the corner. It was like a showpiece. I'm a bass player, and I'd pluck on it here and there, you know. But then I took it with me, and then when I was in California, Lee Rocker from the Stray Cats stayed with us because we had a bed and breakfast out there. And I took him into my little area where I had all my amplifiers and all my, it was like my little studio. And he's seen it, and he's like up my butt all day long wanting to buy this thing. I'm like, what the hell's with it? So I just I'm like, hey, dude, really, I'm just going to keep it because I told him the story, you know. I'll give you $500 right now, $500. And so I look inside and I see this little tag. I started doing some research, and it's a 1938K, highly collectible bass, right? Wow. So I'm going to start taking care of this thing now, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm wiping it off and cleaning it and doing stuff like that. So when I got to Nashville, I took it to a luthier here, and he set it up. And I really got into playing the upright and learning all the tricks with the slaps and all the different things that you do playing as far as like the rockabilly stuff. Because I've done everything, rock and roll. I mean, as far as like what I can listen to anything and just start playing it. But it's a whole different challenge playing the upright. So I went online, YouTube. Nowadays, you can just learn anything on YouTube, learning all the different slaps and techniques, and just going to see different cats down here and meeting people, you know, just learning. Hence, what you're getting to is like, I've got 2 of them now.
That's what you said.
I really enjoy playing them, you know, and it's fun, and it's just a totally different thing. And there's a lot of rockabilly bands that come through here, and there's like rockabilly festivals, and I've befriended a lot of guys like in bands called Hillbilly Casino who are fantastic. And Ronnie, the guitar player, even I took my first bass lesson from him, and he gave me some tricks to learn on the upright. And he's guitar player at Hillbilly Casino, but he plays bass for Brian Setzer for the Brian Setzer's band from the Stray Cats, the Nashvillians, and but there's cats here that like Mean Joe Fick and Jeff Fireball that are guys that are just wailing on the upright. If you ever pull up Mean Joe Fick, he's like Carrie Underwood's bass player, and he was the bass player in that movie Walk the Line. He was Elvis's bass player in that movie.
Okay.
And but he's just fantastic, and he's even got like this video lessons that I signed up for that I'm doing with him. But getting back to the point like that, Nick Roulette, who's the singer for Hillbilly Casino, does a rockabilly night every month at like this East Side Bowl, another venue where people do things, and I'll sit in and do different things like that with it. I just enjoy doing it.
That's awesome.
But I want to. As far as like writing music, I've been having a bunch of ideas for writing like some really kind of sleazy, swampy kind of, twangy guitar kind of, but dark music,
off the beat of off the beaten path of the Seduce.
When I write, I write around the people I play with, but just having ideas for songs. I've never been a dictator. Like, this is the song, you play this, you play this. I mean, put your feel into it. This is the idea for the song, But like say for instance, like you ever watch True Blood, like that kind of that theme music, swanky kind of dark kind of bluesy,
deep in the mud pits of Tennessee kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Okay, well, I know you and I, like I said, we've went back probably 35 years, man. We used to hang out. A lot of stories I'd like to be able to talk about, but I don't want to incriminate myself, and I surely wouldn't want to make life miserable for you, because we could tell some cool stories if we wanted to. But I want to say thank you. You've made this so easy on me to start this new venture, this podcast, and you being my first guest has meant the world to me, Mark. And I continue to say thank you, and I appreciate you. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Well, if this is it, yes, that'd be fine.
Okay, buddy. We'll probably do something down the road. We'll talk off the air, but okay. It really means a lot to me, and I consider you one of my best friends on the planet. And thanks again, Mark, and we'll talk soon.
Take care, buddy.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.